I'm sitting here in the quiet, in the kind of stillness that only comes when the world finally stops asking things of you. And I'm praying for you, for your heart that's been carrying so much today, for the thoughts that won't settle, for the exhaustion that's written itself into your bones in ways that rest alone can't quite touch. If you're hearing this tonight, it's not an accident. I want you to know that from the very beginning, somewhere in the depths of what you are, beneath the worry, beneath the weight, beneath all the things you've been holding together with whatever strength remained, something in you knew you needed this. Your heart whispered for it. Your weary soul reached for it. And here you are, in this moment, in this quiet, with me, with a voice willing to sit with you in the darkness and say what you've maybe been too tired to say yourself. The night has a way of making everything louder, doesn't it? When the world sleeps, when the distractions fade, when there's nothing left but you and your own thoughts in the silence, that's when everything comes rushing in. The conversations you replayed 100 times, the words you wish you'd said differently, the fears that seemed manageable in daylight but now feel enormous and real and all-consuming, the loneliness that settles in when everyone else is sleeping and you're still awake, still thinking, still carrying whatever burden wouldn't let you rest. I know what that feels like. That heaviness that sits on your chest. That racing mind that won't slow down no matter how many times you've told yourself to just breathe, just let go, just sleep. The way your thoughts circle like they're looking for an exit they can't find. The exhaustion that goes deeper than your body. It's in your spirit, in the quiet places inside you where you keep all the things you don't tell anyone else. Maybe today was hard. Maybe it was one of those days where everything felt too much, too loud, too demanding, too painful. Or maybe today was ordinary on the surface, but underneath, something was breaking silently. And now in the darkness, you feel it. You feel how tired you really are. Not just physically tired, though that's part of it, but the kind of tired that comes from carrying worry, from holding grief, from trying to be strong for everyone around you, from wrestling with questions that don't have easy answers, from wondering if things will ever feel lighter than they do right now. And the night amplifies it all. The silence becomes a mirror. Every doubt, every fear, every unresolved moment seems to glow in the dark like something that's been burning beneath the surface all day. Your heart feels fragile, exposed, raw. You're lying there, and even though your body is exhausted, your mind won't grant you the mercy of sleep. It keeps working, keeps spinning, keep pulling you back to the things you can't change, the words you can't take back, the situations you can't control. The future feels uncertain. The past feels like it's reaching for you. And the present moment, right now, feels like standing in the space between them, with no solid ground beneath your feet. But here's what I need you to hear. And I need you to really let this land in that weary heart of yours. You are not forgotten in this moment. You are not overlooked. You are not insignificant in the way the darkness might whisper that you are. There is something, someone, who sees you completely, who sees every tear you've cried when nobody was looking, who knows every weight you're carrying, who understands the specific shape of your exhaustion, your fear, your loneliness, your grief, and you are not beyond comfort. You are not too broken, too tired, too much, or too far gone. I imagine you there in the dimness of your room. Maybe there's a small light somewhere, or maybe you're sitting in the darkness with just the faint glow of something. Maybe the world outside your window is completely still, or maybe there are sounds, traffic in the distance, the hum of something, the settling sounds of a building around you. But inside, in this space you've created or found, there's a quietness that feels both lonely and a little bit sacred. This is a threshold space. This is the kind of place where real things happen, where hearts actually break open, where truth becomes undeniable. I want you to slow down with me right now. Not just physically, though that's part of it. I want you to slow down emotionally, spiritually, mentally. I want you to stop running from whatever feeling has been chasing you. I want you to stop fighting the exhaustion. I want you to stop trying to figure it all out, or fix it all, or make sense of it all in this moment. Just for right now, I want you to sit with what is true. Sit with how you really feel. Sit with the weight without trying to put it down, without trying to pretend it's lighter than it is. Because here's something I've learned about the night, about these dark and quiet moments when everything seems to press down on us. They're not just times of darkness. They're also times when we can finally be honest with ourselves, when we can stop performing, when we can stop protecting everyone else from seeing how much we're struggling, when we can admit, at least to God, at least to ourselves, that we don't have it all figured out, that we're scared, that we're lonely, that we're tired in ways that can't be fixed with a good night's sleep. And that admission, that honesty, that willingness to stop pretending and face what's actually true, that's not weakness, that's not failure, that's wisdom, that's the beginning of something real. That's where transformation actually starts, not from a place of strength and certainty, but from a place of raw honesty about where we actually are. So I'm inviting you into that space right now. I'm inviting you to be as honest as you need to be, in whatever way you need to be it. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to be angry, feel that anger. If you need to sit in silence and just acknowledge how much your heart hurts, do that. There's no performance required here. There's no mask you need to wear. This is a safe place. This moment, this prayer, this voice speaking to you in the darkness, it's a space where you can be completely, vulnerably, honestly yourself. And as you do, I want you to become aware of something else. I want you to notice your breathing. Notice the simple miracle of air moving in and out of your lungs. Notice that you're still here. You made it through another day. You're still standing. Even if you feel like you're barely standing, you're still breathing, still here, still fighting to move forward, even when it would be easier to give up. That matters. Your persistence matters. You're showing up, even like this in the middle of the night, with your exhausted heart and your racing mind. That shows a resilience in you that's worth acknowledging. But resilience isn't about being strong all the time. It's about continuing, even when you're not strong. It's about reaching out even when you don't know if anyone's listening. It's about being willing to be vulnerable, to admit the truth of how you're feeling, to keep your heart open even when it's been hurt, to keep hoping even when hope feels fragile and uncertain. And that's what you've been doing. Maybe you don't realize it, but you have. I want you to think about this night differently. Yes, the darkness is real. Yes, the worries are real. Yes, the exhaustion is real. But so is this moment. So is your courage in facing what you're facing. So is the fact that somewhere inside you, you're still reaching for something better. You're still seeking peace. You're still searching for a voice that understands, that doesn't judge, that sits with you in the darkness and says, I see you, you're not alone. And that part of you that's searching, that's sacred. That's the part of you that connects to something bigger than yourself. That's the part that reaches toward God, toward light, toward healing, toward wholeness. Maybe you don't use those words. Maybe you have your own language for it. But that reaching, that yearning towards something that could comfort you, that could hold you, that could help you find solid ground again, that's the most human and the most divine thing about you. There's a truth that gets buried sometimes beneath all the noise and all the demands of life. It's this: you were made to be held. You were made to be known. You were made to rest, not just physically, though that matters, but spiritually, emotionally, deeply. You were made to rest in a kind of knowing that doesn't depend on how productive you are, how much you've accomplished, how perfectly you've performed, or how well you've managed to keep it all together. The world will tell you that your worth depends on your output, your success, your strength, your ability to never show weakness. But the truth is so much more beautiful and so much more kind than that. Your worth is inherent. It's not something you have to earn. It's not something that disappears when you fail or when you're tired or when you're struggling. You matter simply because you exist. You matter because your life has meaning. You matter because God sees you and knows you and holds you as infinitely precious. And tonight, in this moment, I want you to try to let that sink in. Not in an intellectual way where you understand it but don't feel it, but in a deep, cellular, heart-level way where you actually allow yourself to be held by that truth. You're precious, you're seen, you're known, you're loved, not for what you do, but for who you are. I'm breathing with you right now. As I speak these words, I'm imagining you with me, and we're breathing together, in and out, slow, steady, the breath moving through you like something alive and gentle and present, like someone who cares about you is breathing with you, reminding you that you don't have to do this alone. You don't have to carry this weight by yourself. There's a reason nighttime fears feel so big. It's not just that the world is dark, it's that we're more aware of our smallness in the darkness. We're more conscious of how little control we actually have. We're stripped of distractions and forced to face the reality of our own vulnerability. And in the daylight, we can usually convince ourselves that we have everything under control. But the night reveals the truth. We're fragile. We're finite. We need help. We need more than what we can create ourselves. And that's not something to be ashamed of. That's not a failure. That's the truth of being human. That's the place where we finally become open to receiving help, receiving grace, receiving the kind of comfort that can only come from outside ourselves. That's the place where we become willing to admit that we can't do it all, that we're not supposed to do it all, that there's actually freedom in that surrender. So if you've been fighting the tears, I want to invite you to let them come. If there's sadness that you've been holding back, I want you to feel it. If there's anger that you've been suppressing, I want you to acknowledge it. If there's grief that you've been trying to outrun, I want you to turn around and face it for just a moment, because it needs to be seen. It needs to be acknowledged. It needs to have room to move through you and out of you. This is what it means to be human. This is what it means to have a heart that feels deeply. This is what it means to care about things, to love, to be invested in life and other people and your own well-being. And yes, it makes you vulnerable. Yes, it opens you up to pain, but it also makes you capable of extraordinary beauty. It makes you capable of resilience. It makes you capable of transformation. I think about the nights in Scripture where people encountered something divine. The nights when God came near in the darkness and brought comfort and protection. The nights when people were afraid and heard a voice saying, "Fear not, I am with you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." There's something about the nighttime that seems to make us more open to experiencing something beyond the material world. Maybe it's because we're stripped of our defenses. Maybe it's because the darkness reminds us of our need. Maybe it's because in the quiet, we can finally hear the still small voice that's been calling to us all along. I'm asking you to open yourself to that kind of presence right now, not as something abstract or theoretical, not as something you have to earn or prepare yourself for, but as something that's available to you right now, in this moment, in your ordinariness, in your exhaustion, in your pain, in your complete and utter humanity. God doesn't wait for you to get yourself together before loving you. God doesn't wait for you to be strong enough or good enough or healed enough. God comes to you right where you are, right now, in the darkness, and says, "I see your heart. I see your struggle. I see how hard you're trying, and you're not alone." Maybe you felt far from that presence for a while now. Maybe life has pushed you away from faith, or hope, or belief in anything bigger than yourself. Maybe you've been hurt by people who claim to represent God, and you're not sure what to trust anymore. Or maybe you've just been too tired to think about these things, too caught up in survival to contemplate the sacred. Whatever your story is, I want you to know that this moment, this reaching out, this listening, this willingness to be touched by a prayer in the darkness. This is itself a kind of prayer. This is itself a kind of seeking. And the God I know, the presence I'm praying toward, meets us in that seeking. As you sit here with me in this moment, I want you to imagine something. Imagine that every worry, every fear, every burden that you've been carrying can be set down for just a moment. Not forever. We both know that life will still be waiting for you tomorrow with its demands and its complications. But right now, in this moment, imagine setting it down. Imagine walking away from that weight, even if just for these minutes, and stepping into a space of simply being held. Can you feel that? Can you imagine what it would be like to not have to carry anything for just a moment? To not have to figure anything out, or solve anything, or manage anything. To simply exist, simply be, simply rest in the reality that you are enough, right now, exactly as you are. That's what I'm praying for you. That's the space I'm trying to create with these words. That's the invitation I'm extending to your tired heart. Come into this moment with me. Leave the weight outside for now. Come here and be held. Come here and be known. Come here and discover that even in the midst of everything that's hard, there is still goodness. There is still beauty. There is still reason to hope. Your heart needed this. It needed to be seen. It needed to be validated. It needed to know that someone, somewhere, understands what you're going through and cares about your well-being. It needed permission to be tired, to be sad, to be afraid, to be uncertain. It needed to know that all of that is okay, that you're still okay, that being broken doesn't make you broken beyond repair. It needed a moment to stop and breathe and remember that you're not as alone as you feel. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do as we move toward the end of this time together. I want you to place your hand on your heart if you feel comfortable doing so. I want you to feel your heartbeat beneath your hand. That steady rhythm that's been keeping you alive all day. Even when you weren't aware of it. Even when you were too tired to appreciate it. Even when it felt like your heart was breaking. It kept beating. It kept you alive. It kept you here. And with each beat, I want you to imagine something being released. With each exhale, imagine letting go of something you don't need to carry anymore. Not the hard things that are real and need to be processed. Those will carry with more skill and more help. But the shame, the guilt, the sense that you should have done better, the fear that you're not enough, the worry that you've failed beyond redemption, all of that can start to soften. All of that can begin to lose its grip on you. Because the truth is this: you're doing better than you think you are. You're stronger than you believe. You're more loved than you can possibly imagine. Not because of anything you've done, not because of anything you're going to do, but simply because you exist, simply because your life has value, simply because the universe is better with you in it than without you. I know it's hard to believe that right now. I know when you're in the depths of exhaustion and fear and loneliness, that truth can feel impossibly far away. But I'm asking you to trust something in this moment. I'm asking you to trust the voice that's been speaking to you this whole time. I'm asking you to trust that there's a reason you found your way here. To these words, at this moment, when your heart needed them most. The night will pass. The darkness will give way to dawn. The worries will still be there tomorrow, but they might look a little different in the light. They might feel a little less overwhelming, and you'll face them with a little more strength because of this moment, because of the rest you're finding now, because of the reminder that you're not alone, that you're seen, that you're held, that you're loved exactly as you are. But even more than that, I want you to know something about yourself that might be easy to forget in times like these. You have a capacity for joy that hasn't gone away. You have a capacity for connection that hasn't been destroyed. You have a capacity for healing that's just waiting to be activated. Even in the midst of your pain, even in the midst of your struggle, even in the midst of everything that feels dark and uncertain, there's a spring of aliveness in you that never runs dry. There's a core of you that can't be broken by what you're facing. And as you move through tomorrow, and through all the tomorrows after that, I want you to remember this night. Remember that there was a moment when someone cared enough to speak to your heart in the darkness. Remember that your exhaustion is real and valid and acknowledged. Remember that it's okay to not be okay sometimes. Remember that asking for help, seeking comfort, reaching out, all of that takes courage and strength that you possess. Remember that you matter. Remember that your life has meaning. Remember that you are loved. The world is quiet now. The darkness holds you gently. Your breathing can slow. Your mind can settle. Your heart can begin to find its way back toward peace. Not the peace of having everything figured out. Not the peace of pretending everything is fine. But the peace that comes from being completely seen and still loved. The peace that comes from not carrying the weight alone anymore. The peace that comes from knowing that no matter how dark the night is, there is always a dawn waiting on the other side of it. So let yourself rest now. Let yourself sink into the comfort of this moment. Let the tension begin to release from your shoulders, from your jaw, from the space between your eyes where you've been holding so much. Let your breathing become even slower, even more gentle. Let yourself know that you are safe, that you are protected, that you can allow your mind to quiet and your body to find the rest it so desperately needs. And as you drift towards sleep, know this. If you're hearing this tonight, your heart needed it. It needed to be reminded that it's not forgotten. It needed to be held in the awareness that someone, somewhere, understands what you're going through and cares. It needed permission to rest, to feel, to be vulnerable, to be human. And you deserve all of that. You deserve to have your heart tended to with gentleness. You deserve to have your pain acknowledged. You deserve to have your exhaustion validated. You deserve to know that you're loved, that you're seen, that you're valued, not for anything you do, but simply for being you. The night is wrapping around you now like a soft blanket. The silence is becoming a friend instead of an enemy. Your heart is beginning to settle. The racing thoughts are slowing down. The weight is becoming a little lighter. And you're beginning to drift toward that place where dreams can find you, where your mind and body can finally work together to heal and restore what's been worn down. This is peace. This is rest. This is the sacred space where you're held by something bigger and kinder and more trustworthy than your own strength. This is home. This is where you belong. And you don't have to earn it, fight for it, or prove yourself worthy of it. It's already yours. It's already here. All you have to do is receive it. So receive it now. Receive the comfort. Receive the care. Receive the presence of something divine moving toward you in your need. And know that as you sleep, as you rest, as you allow your heart and mind to find their way back toward wholeness, you are not alone. You are held. You are loved. You are seen. If you're hearing this tonight, your heart needed it. And it's okay to let yourself have it. It's okay to let yourself be comforted. It's okay to let yourself be loved. It's okay to rest. You've earned it. You deserve it. You need it. And so I release you into the peace that's waiting for you. I release you into the gentleness of the night. I release you into the care of something far greater than myself. Something that has been waiting for this moment. Waiting for you to finally allow yourself to be held. Rest now. Sleep now. Know that tomorrow will come. But tonight, you get to simply be, simply exist, simply be loved. Thank you for letting me sit with you in this darkness. Thank you for opening your heart to these words. Thank you for being brave enough to let yourself be vulnerable, to let yourself be seen, to let yourself need something beyond yourself. That took courage, that took strength, and I see it in you. May your sleep be deep and restorative. May your dreams be kind. May you wake tomorrow knowing that you're stronger than you think, more loved than you can imagine, and worthy of all the goodness that life can offer. And may you carry with you the knowledge that whenever the night feels too dark again, whenever your heart feels too heavy, whenever you need to remember that you're not alone, You can come back to this moment. You can come back to this voice. You can come back to the truth that if you're hearing this, your heart needed it. And you matter. You always matter. Rest well tonight. You've earned it.